Yes, hello again. This is now tarot lesson number 86, and this is my agenda, my cunning plan. So, ideas, the Judgment card and the Hanged Man. So, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but in the last video, I talked about the interview or conversation I had with Simon in Belgium. And one of the points I make from time to time is when you turn a card, just talk about it and listen to what you're saying, or pay attention to what you're saying, and you'll discover that you know things you didn't know, or you say things that are good that you didn't know that you were going to say. So when I was talking with Simon, I said at one point, think about the tarot as a big building where you store ideas. So it's not where you store meanings, it's where you store ideas, different possibilities. And then because it's a storehouse, you can take them out, put them back, organize, reorganize, sort, put them together, blend them. But it's a bit like you start off with single or basic ideas and you work with them. So, with all that in mind, last time I showed you some symbols. I showed you the circle, the semicircle, and the cross. And the cross, this represents matter. So it's spirit and matter are kind of opposite, and it depends what you mean by matter, but so I give the example, this is you when you're asleep, and that's you when you're awake. So when we're dealing with a cross, we're dealing with change and cycles and beginning, middle, end, and new beginning, and so on, as you go round in circles. Even though we've got 4 points, sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. So there's something about the cross representing matter, and matter being life, everyday life in the world. So it's that kind of situation. So if you look at the Judgment card, and here's a bigger example of it, you can see we've got a cross here on the flag, on the trumpet being blown by the angel. So maybe we connect the idea of matter with the Judgment card. And so in my notes, I had written angel. Right, we've got an angel, we've got a trumpet, and we've got a flag, or we've got a cross. Let's call it flag, cross. So maybe what you do is, and remember this is lesson 86, so it's not like we're just beginning at this point. We've looked at cards, and you've spent time with cards and figuring out what they mean and so on. So I mentioned before, you maybe write a few words, or a single word or two about a particular card, and then you do a kind of brainstorm on that particular word or idea. Right, it's an idea because a tarot is a building where you store ideas. So one of the ideas that's stored in the tarot is the idea of an angel. So what actually is an angel? And I've got my opinion about what an angel is, or what makes sense to me, but it's important that you figure out what makes sense to you. Because when you figure out what makes sense to you and you explain it or describe it to the people who come to you for readings, or the people you do readings for, it's going to make sense. And in the same way, if I talk about what I think an angel represents, it's going to make sense to the people who come to me, or the people I come in contact with to do readings. But we may disagree about what an angel is actually, but it doesn't matter, because your definition of angel is right for your people, and my definition of angel is right for my people, so to speak. So the angel, let's say the angel, it can represent the inner you, the higher self, the inner self. Maybe it represents something that's divine within you or within anything. Or maybe it represents something that you really can't ever know properly, because it's an angel. It's not a person. So maybe the angel represents the idea of something that's unknowable, although friendly. Because, something that's unknowable but hostile. But here the angel seems to be a good force for information or a source of good that wants to connect with people, because we've got the angel here and we've got the people in the bottom and the foreground of the card. So we've got an angel. So let's consider the angel represents the inner you. Okay, so the angel's blowing a trumpet. So the trumpet can mean, and I thought music and breath. Okay, so it represents music. So maybe this is telling us about the healing power of music, for instance. But it's a trumpet that's being blown. It's a wind instrument. It's not a guitar or a piano. So that maybe, I'm saying this because the word spirit comes from a root that means breath. And if you think about it, with a trumpet, you're using your breath. You're blowing out. You're expressing through breath. So maybe the angel blowing the trumpet is the idea of a beautiful, friendly force of good sending a message or projecting out for us. So it can be that, or maybe it's about, so if the judgment card comes up with your question, or you talk about the benefits of listening to music, or how music can be healing, or if you're upset about something, go and listen to a song or two that you like, or listen to some music. There's all sorts of Baroque music with trumpet concertos and the rest of it. But also in a more modern way, we've got Chicago, the band Chicago. If you go onto YouTube and type in Chicago Tanglewood 25 or 6 to 4, they did a concert, a live version of various songs at some location called Tanglewood. And so in Chicago, you've got a little horn section, you've got a trumpet, a saxophone, and a trombone. And it's really good what they do. There's something, especially the trombone player. So there's something about, because I spent a long time, recently I spent every evening I would listen to Beginnings by Chicago and 25 or 64 just to enjoy the horn section. And I would listen to it like 10 times a night for 3 weeks in a row. Anyway, so maybe that was my own version of enjoying the angel within me, giving me healing, for instance. I'm saying healing because the people are in coffins, but the lid's been opened, so there's renewal and rebirth with this particular card. But the other thing is there's this cross in front of them. So maybe the angel here is sending a message that we can benefit from in our daily life. The cross representing daily life. It's the cross of matter. So the trumpet, the music, is a connection between spirit, the angel, and matter, everyday life. But the other thing that struck me was the cross can be a plus sign as well. So in your daily life, what are you adding to yourself? So if you go out and you talk to people, do you talk about things that are going wrong, or things that are bad, or things you don't want? Or do you listen to people talk about their health problems and the difficulties that they've got in their life? That's what you're adding to your mind, to your thought processes. So maybe with the angel, it's saying or reminding us, be careful about what you think about. And so, because whatever you think about, you're adding to your memory bank or your data bank. And you can either add good stuff that's uplifting and inspiring, or you can add stuff that just drags you down. And it's up, you get to choose what you're going to think about, what you're going to talk about. It's not like it happens to you. You cooperate with it. And there's an old idea that the mind is not in the body is within the mind. So if you've got, I don't want to, I'm not minimizing anything, but there's something, maybe think about that, but don't jump to conclusions, and maybe ponder on the idea that what if the body is within the mind? To what extent are we, over a period of time, over decades, not just like 2 seconds, you don't just think a good thought and suddenly you're miraculously healed. Maybe you are sometimes, but when you think about, you've been thinking negatively or thinking despair or unhappiness or worry or anger or indignation for 40 years or 20 years, that has to have an effect. So it's not going to be undone overnight or in 2 minutes. But maybe if we pay attention to the thoughts that we're actually thinking, the thoughts that we're accepting, then maybe we can do something about everything. And this can be what the judgment card can represent. The idea that we can heal ourselves through music, maybe, or through being careful about what direction we go in. So this was really all by way of introduction to the Hanged Man. So we've got the Hanged Man here, right? So if you remember last time, I did that's sunrise, that's sunset. You draw a line between them, and you've got the horizon. So what's above the horizon is daytime. It's visible. What's below the horizon is nighttime. It's dark. You can't see clearly at midnight as you can at midday. Okay, so with the Hanged Man, we've not just got the horizon up here, right, this bit, but we've got the Hanged Man we've got here. So the Hanged Man has got, or with the Hanged Man, we're dealing with sunset through to midnight up to a new beginning. So the Hanged Man is about, so it's midnight, so it's dark, but it's also midnight, and midnight is the end of one day and the beginning of a new one. So the Hanged Man is about change, basically. So, but it's not just change, regular change. It's more the idea that you've come to the end of something and you're about to begin a new thing or a new course or a new relationship or something, a continuation maybe of what went on before, but it's new and it's different. But you're in the dark at this moment because it's midnight. And so with the Hanged Man, understand that things are changing and there will be a change and things can be better in the future. But at the moment, you don't know what the future looks like because it's midnight, it's dark, and you can't see sunrise yet. You can have an idea of what you want it to be like, but it's not going to be for a few hours or a period of time that you actually are clear in your own mind about what it is that you're doing or what direction you want to go in. So with the Hanged Man, you have to be patient. Or if you are patient and paying attention to what comes, and then you sort and sift what comes to you and figure out, do I really want this, or is it telling me, is it me? And this is not what I really want, so I better put that on the back burner or get rid of it or not give it any attention. So with the Hanged Man, I think we're dealing with suspension and delay. It's delay not because things are against you, but it's delay because it's midnight and you don't know yet what the new day is going to bring. You can have ideas, but you need to, or it's a good idea to maybe make a list of the ideas that you've got and then assess each of them individually, so that as a little bit of time passes and maybe you're at this point in the cycle then here you begin to get a better idea of what daybreak is going to look like, or what the direction is that you're going to travel, or that you want to go in. But you can, at this point, I think, with the Hanged Man, because it's midnight, you're finishing things up and about to have new things, which gets me back to the I can't find it, the judgment card with this, the plus sign. So what are you adding to your whole being, your whole self? And maybe at this point with the Hanged Man, it's a moment or a time of challenge, because there are 12 months in a year, right? So I've lost my piece. Okay, so there's 12 months in a year, so 12. And this is Hanged Man, is number 12. It represents a complete cycle, right? 1 year, 12 months, a year. We celebrate birthdays as if something's finished and a new year is going to begin. So with the Hanged Man, you're dealing with the end of one period, or the end of one cycle, and the beginning of a new one. But it's a moment of darkness, and you don't know for sure yet or immediately what the next part or the next stage is going to look like. So you have to be patient and pay attention to what comes to you, and think about what it is you actually want, what direction you want to go in, and not jump to conclusions. Because it's so easy to do that. Something happens and you immediately go to town with it, instead of understand. With the Hanged Man, you're meant to understand, okay, this looks really good, for instance, but don't get carried away. Or if you get carried away, you're probably going to regret it. You're better to, with the Hanged Man, be patient, be optimistic by all means, but don't rush. And that can be why things are slow, because if they weren't slow, you would rush ahead and get yourself into trouble. So it's sort of you taking care of yourself. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to say. So let me stop at this point. And today I think it's Sunday, so I'll be back in a few days, whatever that will be. I'm just rambling while I fold this up. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Oh, and if you made it this far, let me just do some self-promotion. The tarot book, the tarot reader, is available on Amazon and in paperback. And if you're interested, the astrology course is up and running. And if you go to astrology-in-action.com, you'll get the information. And I'll put a link in, or I'll put a note in the description down below. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. And I'll see you in a few days. Okay, bye-bye.